We are at Fatshark today, catching up on Vermintide, and perhaps, well, one of two new things coming to Vermintide is VR. First of all, I'd like to know what made you want to create a VR mode or separate experience for Vermintide?
We wanted to dive deeper into meeting the Skaven and experience the Warhammer world more firsthand. We tried the first-person view, and then we wanted to do it even more, to be totally immersed in the Warhammer world.
Obviously, the basic Vermintide concept doesn't fit very well to VR. How did you sort of approach designing a VR version of Vermintide?
We had to sort of start over and look at what is VR good at and what can we do with what we have, basically. And then we started from there and just what works in VR and what can we sort of build. So we had to rebalance everything, and we had to have fewer enemies because it really doesn't work with hundreds of Skaven at the same time. It's too hard.
Yeah, and then you can put more emphasis on each of the enemies and what they do, and it becomes a little bit more personal.
Yeah, we wanted to really meet the Skaven face to face, up close, and see all the detail of the excellent models we have. So you can see all the hairs and pores and stuff like that.
It's interesting. There seems to be two approaches, at least from what I've tried, to sort of how to approach this. There's the on-rail, and there's the sort of tower defense-like structure of it. How would you describe those?
Well, since we are doing room scale, so we have a few meters to work with, but still the problem with moving around in the level needs to be addressed. So we use teleport in our game now, and being stationary works, and moving the enemies towards you, and then using the moving platform, or rail in our case, to sort of move the player to the enemies instead. I mean, it's the same sort of moving environment or moving the enemies, basically.
You have, I think it's 4 different weapons to choose from, that you can also combine some of them. These weapons sort of lend themselves well to VR, but very different. How would you sort of describe the arsenal that you got at your disposal?
Well, we wanted to partly use normal ranged weapons, and then since we want to have the Skaven really close up, we wanted to have a melee system, so we added the fencing sword or rapier, and also you can smack the Skaven with the magic staff, which you can throw fireballs with and hit them in as well if they come too close. And then we have a normal pistol, repeater pistol, so you can shoot straight, and then a sort of physics bow, like a lot of other games have. And then we wanted to make a sort of our own approach to our new addition to the VR experience with the magic staff, throwing fireballs and burning heads on the enemy.
It's almost like throwing a baseball or something.
Yeah, it's really difficult. It's sort of built-in difficulty setting, which weapon you choose, where the pistol is the most straightforward and familiar, and then we have the bow, which is a bit more difficult, requires practice, and then the staff is the most difficult to use because it's the throwing motion, and if you're unfamiliar with throwing things, it's more difficult.
I guess the payoff's got to be that it's very powerful when you're good at it.
Yeah, obviously there are different. I mean, if you hit, you can kill several Skaven at one time with a fireball, and also if they pass really close, they will die as well.
Right. So as far as I understand it, this is something that's going to be a free addition for those who already have the game. What's the scope and the plans with Vermintide VR?
Well, we just try it for now. We're going to have a free demo with one gameplay level and the hub, and then everyone who owns normal Vermintide would have the rest, because it's sort of a test run for us, an experiment. We wanted to see how it works and what we can do for the future. So we wouldn't want to do a sort of full premium thing with it. Just test it out and see what people like with it and so on.
So it's also about building experience within the team and know-how, perhaps.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously we have a co-op mode, so you can play with a friend. And since we usually do that, if one have the full game and one have only the demo, you can play together on the full game levels as well, because that's how we roll.
Is it two-player co-op then, or?
Yeah, it's two-player co-op.
I can imagine that it gets quite frantic just with two players in VR anyway, so.
Yeah, it does. It's enough.
All right. Is it available now, or when can people get their hands on it, testing, whatever?
We'll release it the 15th of December, tomorrow.
Cool. Thanks.
Thank you.